Hello friends, it's Yehuda here, director of Psychophonetics Institute International and co-director of Shkola Empathy. And this is our little Christmas gift and message for you for the conclusion of this incredible, eventful, dramatic year, so that we make some contribution to end it well, so well it becomes a new beginning. We worked very hard, at least at Shkola Empathy in this year. We had to invent ourselves. We had to continue to do what we do well, in spite of so much that prevents human meeting. And I believe that we prevail. I believe that we made it. And not that this is our ideal. We will always do as much as we can in person. But the fact that you managed to maintain our life, our process on 4 different levels, including starting 4 more groups during the time of pandemic, and the real human essence, the real human warmth, the real human contact, what we can really be for each other, survived so much blockades and regulations and fear all around us, and the inability to meet in person. So when I concluded on Sunday night our last intensive for the year, for the 3rd year, I said this is a great victory of spirit. And in times of need and in times of contraction and of darkness, there is a challenge. And when we live up to this challenge, we end up with more than we had before we were challenged. So in this little occasion, I want to thank all of you who have been a part of our life during this year. And mainly for my close colleagues and for our students and for our graduates, but also for members of the public who joined us in our events directly and online, who join us even now listening to this, who are the invisible community that we have here in Slovakia, in Czechoslovakia, and in the world. And from time to time we become visible on screen, and sometimes we see you in the room, which is really appreciated. And it's not a defined community, it's still a community for us. And so we want to appreciate what we've done together in this very challenging year, and to bless us that we use it all for a new beginning in the coming year. And I just wanted to say a few words about what is unique to this time from my perspective, and I'm sure that you could say what is unique to this time from your perspective. This is at the same time Christmas and end of the year and soon the beginning of a new year, but above all for us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's winter. I say Northern Hemisphere because I'm also Australian, South African, and they're in the height of summer there, and I don't forget that. We in Australia and South Africa and New Zealand and Latin America, we do Christmas in mid-summer, which is a challenge for European consciousness. But here in Europe, we are in proper classic Christmas and a new beginning in the middle of winter. And it really helps to do it midwinter. I can tell you for many years of trying to do Christmas in the middle of the summer, it's a different kind of challenge. It's more natural because the culture of the creation of Christmas and Sylvester, it was formed in countries when this is happening in winter. Something very special happened to the whole earth in winter. And it is happening to us too, because the earth has a soul and a spirit, like human beings have got a soul and a spirit. And while we have very individual soul and spirit, we also participate in something greater than the individual soul, because we are going through the mood of the earth. And this is a time of contraction. Midsummer is a time of expansion, and this is a time of contraction. And the special opportunity in expansion, and there's a special opportunity in contraction. The contraction that all our forests and gardens and orchards and farms are going through now is absolutely essential for the renewal that we will see visible in springtime. If not for winter, we would not have spring. It's easier to celebrate spring and summer, it's all on the outside. But in winter, the preparation is happening. Because if we had continuous summer and spring, a lot will not happen. And let us remember that there are parts of the world where there is the same weather all the time, like in the equators, for instance, and to a certain extent in the poles. But what we call human culture, at least in Europe, came from countries where there is, well, culture, in the sense of classic culture, literature, music, poetry, drama, even technology, science, all this came mainly from countries where there is 4 seasons, which means deep contraction in winter and big expansion in summer, and the 2 equinoxes of equal length of days and nights in between. And now we're in this contraction. And in some regard, it's not that much fun, because it's not, you can enjoy, of course, going to nature in winter, and the forest is beautiful in the snow, but everything contracts, and it really helps here. I'm in Bernolakovo, just outside Bratislava, and we had snow. And second time we had snow. We don't know with global warming when next time you will see snow. But we were so surprised and delighted. It was classic European snow here in the last week. And it helps because we contract. Now, if you just contract and stay there, this can be depressing and this can be stagnating. But if you consciously contract, this is a special opportunity for something new to happen before the next expansion. Because it is in this contraction that the new seed can come in. And in the olden days, the winter is a time of the birth of something new. We need a lot of life forces in order to be fertile and to produce a child. But actually the birth itself, a classic time, happened in the darkest time. Dark outside can be light inside. If you look at the roots now, I mean, you cannot look at the roots, but if you would look at the roots, or if you take some plants from outside and plant them inside to survive the winter, the roots are very busy in the winter. On the surface you don't see anything. But when comes March and April and things start to sprout, and here in Slovakia, it's such powerful spring and summer. This was prepared in the dark, invisible. The roots of the trees are very busy now. And there's extremely powerful support for the growth in this condition. And so this is a classic structure. And you see it before any flower. Before the plant becomes a flower, actually all the leaves contract. You see, the green leaves close to the flower are much smaller than the leaf down the plants, because it all contracts, and then poof, the flower is happening. There's always contraction before new growth. And this is the opportunity that we have in winter. And this is a promise of Christmas, not in the narrow religious church way, with all respect. I'm talking about something universal for all religions. In the Jewish tradition, we celebrate Hanukkah, and I'm sure they celebrate something similar in all the other religions. There's something universal about it. Something new can be born in these conditions of contraction. Less outside, and then there can be more inside. But if we fail that, if we just contract and lose without using it as a special opportunity for going deeper, then there will be nothing new in the expansion. And it is in winter that there is ideal conditions to go deeper and to remember what is still to happen. There is always a dimension of unknown potential in human nature. None of us human is fully here, and none of us human is fully expressing our full potential yet. It is the essential element of human nature that we change all the time. Change what? We change because we are not fully here. Because as much as I'm present and productive and creative and fertile, I'm still always aware there's so much of me that hasn't happened yet. There's so much of me that is still, I'm pregnant with, it's still to come. And when it is all happening outside, it's easy to forget it. But when it is winter and we collect ourselves to our home, create something special at home, families come together even if they haven't seen each other for the whole year, there is this inwardness, a little bit less busy outside. And then what? Then we can remember the depth of us. That of us that hasn't happened yet. That of us that we forgot in the busyness of life. And this Christmas rush and everybody's doing something in the empty shopping centers. I'll come to this in a moment. Like this winter happening here for 2 years now. It's not as busy as it used to be for Christmas because things are very limited now. So we do a lot of shopping, but we go back and put it in a certain order and make the home warmer and more welcoming. And then there's an opportunity to meet people. There's more heart space, more time space. But if you only think about it in the social sense, you miss something. Because even within me, winter is an opportunity to go deeper into me, into the rest of me, into that which I forgot about. And we all have deep intentions we forgot about. We all have deep commitment we made to do something special in our life, which we forgot about. We were too busy. We were all too busy. And there's an opportunity somewhere leading to Christmas, and somewhere between Christmas and New Year's, and somewhere after New Year's Eve, when the New Year is still fresh, of something a bit quiet. And in that quiet, something special can happen if you're awake. And Christmas and midwinter is a very special opportunity to wake up to the depth, to the rest of me. And every time you can do it, don't have to wait for winter. You can do it every day to stop the noise and the rush and the movement and the busyness and the expression of what you can express, and go deeper into the roots and remember what hasn't happened yet, and remember the deeper potential, and remember the deeper humanity. And the deeper we go into the individual deeper humanity, the deeper we go into humanity. I come from Israel, and something special apparently happened there 2,000 years ago. And I don't know what might happen there with these people, but something happened there which is still not fully manifest. It was dark time, apparently, and there was no way to continue with the way things were. And then something completely new was born into this darkened place, and it became a new promise for humanity. And again, I'm saying it beyond any religion. There in the darkest time, something new can happen. And so I wish for all of us, beyond all the busyness of family and Christmas and shopping and preparation and food, to not miss opportunity, to go deeper to the quiet place, where it is never empty. For it is never empty in the human soul. We are just afraid it is empty. When you accept the silence, when you accept the quiet, when you accept yourself for a moment as you are, and be present, there's always something new. Because we are spirits. We just forget most of the time. We are spirits expressed in life. But sometimes, the expression is a bit limited. When the noise is limited, when expressing us as we are is limited, we can remember us as we haven't been yet before, knocking on the inner door of a new human soul and spiritual sense. And of course, people coming together in family gatherings and in intimate meetings enhance it, remind us of what we mean to each other, remind us of the special opportunity we have for each other, remind us of the love that we have. It's interesting, in recent time in our courses, in the final day we have always a final sharing. At least 3 times in a row now, people said it was, these 5 days we spent together, it was like a family. We were like family to each other. And now that I think about it, it's a comment I hear more in the winter than in the rest of the year. That I wish for all of us, to remember the family that we can be. But it's also the inner environment inside to go deeper into. And now we are in the middle of the pandemic. And you may say, the last 2 years have been winter. We've been through a long, long winter. What we are used to once a year, we've been here in the most busy seasons when we go out and experience nature and social events and concerts and gatherings and parties. We couldn't do any of this. And so we had long winter. And for many people, it's a disaster, especially for the young ones who need the social environment like oxygen. I live here with teenagers, and it's a big suffering to lose on the social contact that they need, like breathing air. And so it was enforced contraction. It was enforced isolation. It was enforced staying at home, as if we are in severe winter all the time. And so it is a disaster for many people, for many businesses, for many cultural events. I'm in touch with artists here in this country and in other places, and it's really tough. And so much of our culture depends on the outdoor, depends on people meeting. We all went through incredible depression about that. I just want to say that in the same way that in winter there's an opportunity to go deeper and to plant a new seed that will sprout in the spring to come. It's not only about season. There we are in maybe the first time in our history, a crisis for the whole of humanity, a restriction and fear and anxiety and unknownness for all of us. For those who didn't know it before, we realize we are one village, some variant happened in South Africa and tomorrow it is in London, something happens in Siberia and tomorrow it's in America. All this illusion that we can put borders and be safe on one side and misery on the other side. Hey guys, some of us did not need this reminder, but many of us did. There's one family, it's Adam and Eve family, and there's one home, and it's this planet. And it's time we forget about our little quarrels in the kindergarten and remember that we are one family and treat each other like that. And I think this pandemic has been this contracting time. We couldn't do business as usual. So it's a disaster, yes, but it's also an opportunity to contract and remember the rest of us individually, families, tribes, and humanity, and bring something new into this contraction. So there will be an expansion which is not just a repetition, but a new beginning and a new blossoming. May this contraction of the winter, of the season, of the inwardness of it, and of the crisis of humanity become a time when we find something deeper, individually and on all levels, when we find the seed that will sprout and renew us when things warm up again on all levels. I wish for you that this winter, this Christmas, this transition from 2021 to 2022 may be blessed, may be renewal, may the crisis become an opportunity, and may we, me, you remember the rest of us, the humanity that has not happened yet, and give it a chance to be born in the middle of this winter so that the new year find us ready for something really new. Well, happy Christmas for you all, and blessings on New Year, and I hope to see many of you and meet you and work with you in the year to come. Happy Christmas.